husband Bob spends a lot of time with Choppy, sometimes a little bit too much time. He does everything with Choppy. He even showers with it.
Oh, I love you, Choppy.
Sometimes I think he loves that saw more than he loves me.
I love you, Choppy. You're the best saw ever. My name's Bob, here, and I love my chainsaw. His name's Choppy. He's my best friend. He's part of the family. I take him everywhere. Oh, good job, Choppy. You're really tearing it up today.
Yeah, my husband Bob spends a lot of time with Choppy.
Best little saw I ever had.
Sometimes a little bit too much time.
Oh, looks like you drank up all that bar and chain oil. Time for some more, Choppy. You're thirsty. Glug, 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 glug. Oh, yeah, that's a good little saw. Drink it up, Choppy. She don't know how lucky she's got it. I could be out running around with different women every night in a bar. But instead, I'm at home with her and Choppy. Oh, wow, Choppy. You got wood chips in places I never even thought to look. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does everything with Choppy. He even showers with it.
I love you, Choppy. Yeah. Wait, I think I hear somebody. Hey, what are you doing in here, weirdo? Me and Choppy are taking a shower. Get out of here. Oh, wait, on second thought, you hand me that towel? I gotta dry Choppy off. He's a little wet. Hey.
We sleep in separate rooms now. He'd rather sleep on the couch with Choppy, so I'm in the bedroom.
I love you, Choppy. You're the best saw ever. No other saws compared to you, Choppy.
Sometimes I think he loves that saw more than he loves me.
Choppy? What's wrong, Choppy?
What's the matter, Bob?
Something wrong with Choppy. It's not powering on.
Maybe it just needs new batteries.
It doesn't need new batteries, Carla, all right? I just put quantums in them.
Maybe it's time for a real saw.
Choppy is a real saw, all right? I'm taking him down to the repair shop. It's gonna be okay, Choppy. Oh, man. Who locked this f***ing door?
You know, having owned a lawnmower shop for over 40 years, I've come across my share of freaks and weirdos. And let me tell you, this guy Bob, he takes it to a whole new level. Don't get me wrong, I got a collection of toy chainsaws, but I'm not sleeping and showering with them. I quit doing that years ago. Pterodactyl here. And today's video is going to be an engine swap video. We're going to swap an engine from one mower and stick it on another mower that's got a bad engine. So gather around, grass rats. It's story time. Come on, gather around. You in the back, put the cell phone down and get up here. It's story time. Okay, so this mower came in. Look at this thing. Isn't she a beauty? And the customer wanted this repaired. And I said, I don't know. This thing needs a lot of work. We put air in the tires, but probably by the time we're done filming this, the tires will all be flat again. So it's one of these, my wife likes the mower. She really likes that mower. She don't like the other mower. So I said, okay. And he goes, the engine runs and everything. It's just got some problems, blah, blah, blah. And I go, this thing isn't going to be cheap to fix. I go, why don't we do this? I got another mower here that somebody brought in that's got a bad engine. The connecting rod is thrown, but the rest of the mower is decent. I go, why don't we just take this engine off of here and stick it on the other mower? And he's like, okay, all right, we'll do that. Why don't we do that? What's that going to cost? And I said, $500 I'll charge you. $500 to do it. So he claims this engine runs. But they all make claims, these customers, and they don't know. So first thing we're going to do is find out if this engine runs. So this is the donor mower. This is the mower with the bad engine. Now I know you're looking at him going, that other one's 12 and a half and this one's 20 horsepower. You're really mixing them up. No. This is way overpowered. Because if you look at this mower, this is a 42-inch mower with a 12.5 horse brakes and scrap them on it. This is an MTD. It's got that white brand on there, white outdoor power equipment, but it's an MTD. This says Craftsman. This is a MTD also, because Craftsman doesn't make anything. They haven't made anything in years. This is private labeled for Craftsman through MTD. But it's in better condition. It's got a hood and everything. That one's all missing the hood. So we're going to swap the engines and make one good tractor out of the two. But again, the first thing we need to do is make sure that that engine runs. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is see if this engine's going to run and start. Which I got a feeling that, I don't know, I'll be lucky if I break even on this deal. I thought by throwing that $500 out there, they would, oh, yeah, well, forget it, that $500 deal. But no, they go, okay, go ahead and fix it. So I think I need to tell them $1,000 next time. But anyway, let's see if this thing starts. So I want to pull the air filter off. And as you can see, it's all deteriorated. Fuel line's hard as a carb. But he says this engine ran last fall. They were using it. But I hear these stories all the time. And I got my jumper box and I got my fuel. So let me check the oil. See if we got Earl in there. Yep, that's going to have to be changed, and it's low, should be up to here. Now this doesn't have a pressurized lube system or anything on it. No oil filter. But these were good engines. Like I said, 93 and it's still out there. Not locked up. I got my jumper box here. My homemade jumper box. So what I normally do is I go right to the starter. Make sure we got a good connection. Make sure the key is in the on position. And then go to ground, anywhere you can find a ground, to get this thing to crank over. All right, let's see if it'll start. Squirt some fuel in there, some dinosaur syrup. It's not starting. It's not starting. Well, it's got water on it because it's been sitting outside. I thought you said don't keep your stuff outside. You keep it outside. Well, I'm not going to have a big warehouse and pay all these high property taxes just to store people's crap inside when they store it outside. All right. We got any spark? And we don't have any spark. What a surprise. It was just running last year. We were using it last year. Liars. All right, so fortunately, the coil off of this engine should work on that engine. Now I can't test this coil because we don't have a starter, but I'm just going to go ahead, pull the shroud off, pull the coil off, put this coil on that engine, and then we'll see if we got spark. So since this engine's junk, we already robbed the starter off of it, and I think the starter was junk too on this thing. I think this engine's locked up or through a rod, but the motor's junk. But it is a Craftsman. Oh, this one says Craftsman. Well, now it says Craftsman. And we sell them stickers in our online store. Maybe you got a Craftsman and you need that sticker. Go to our online store. Get the Craftsman sticker. You know where it'd look good? On your Craftsman. Or maybe put it in your bathroom when you're taking a crap. And your wife will say, "Oh, he's in the bathroom. He's a Craftsman." All right, I pulled the blower shroud off this turd. And I don't even know if this coil's any good. I can't even get the... There we go. Well, look at this. This is all deteriorating, but we don't need the wire to be this long. I'm going to cut it down anyway. But I'm going to pull this coil off this turd anyway. And we'll stick it on that one and see if it sparks. All right, let's pull this blower shroud off. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at this mess. Just keep that lawnmower outside. Just keep it outside. Here's probably why we don't have any spark. It'll be fine outside. Nothing will hurt it. I keep my mower outside for years. I never had a problem. I never had a problem at all. I keep it outside all the time. And you've never had this problem? So Fluffy made a mess in here. So I'm going to get the shop vac and clean all this out. And then I'll put that coil on there and then we'll see if it has any spark. All right, I got the new coil on there. Well, not new, used coil. And I got our spark tester hooked up, which we also sell in our online store. This is a OEM, breaks and scrap 'em spark tester. And I got the dipstick tube back in because when I go to crank it over, I don't want oil shooting out. So let's see if we got spark now, or am I going to have to put a coil on this thing? Oh yeah, it's sparking. I can see it. Do you see that, grass rat? So, since this wire is so long and it's deteriorated, I could cut it right here, right past this bad spot, and crimp a new terminal on the end, and I could use this plug boot. Oh, look at that. Pull the plug boot and the terminal right off of the old one. Let's see. Maybe I could reuse the old one here. Let me see what we've got to work with here. Yeah, I might be able to just crimp this on there and reuse all this. Let's do that. Let me get that prepped. Then I'm going to squirt some dinosaur juice in there and we'll see if it'll lick off. And I'm sure it won't stay running. Because, you know, these customers are nothing but liars. Fibber McGee's. I bet you if I drop that bowl, that carburetor is probably just full of crap and water. And it was just running last fall. Yeah, it was running in the fall of 98. And this is a 93. All right, I got the plug wire all hooked up. And I got my auxiliary fuel tank hooked up, and look, there's just gas pouring out everywhere. It just ran last year. We were running it last year. The whole throat of the carburetor is all full of fuel. Gas is just pouring out everywhere. You know, I've scrapped better tractors than both of these. This is turning into a nightmare as usual. But we're into it now. The throat's all full of fuel, so I know when I go to crank it over, it should start. Let's see what happens. I got the kill wire disconnected. I'm gonna hook it back up. All right, let's see what happens. Shooting fuel out. Shooting it out instead of sucking it in. You know what that means? Got a stuck valve too. What did I get myself into? Should just call this guy and tell him, you know, that mower you brought is junk. I quoted you way too long on it. Way too low of a price. Okay, I pulled the head. And I don't have a stuck valve. They're both opening and closing. I don't know why it wouldn't start. Maybe it was flooded. I know when I pulled the head off, a bunch of gas came out. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt the head back on. And we're going to try it again. Good thing it's a flathead because it's easy enough to get off. I'm going to pull this kill wire off. Yow, that just stabbed me. All right. There we go. Well, it runs, and I turned that fuel back off because I'm going to have to go through the carburetor. All right, so that's what I wanted to know, if it's going to run. And it ran, and it didn't really run too bad. I'm sure I'm going to have to go through that carburetor. So the next thing is pull the engine off and pull the engine off the other one. And hopefully the muffin and everything will line up. I won't have to do any kind of fabrication or anything on that. But let's get all that off now. Boy, what is this thing is making a mess. What a nightmare. This is going right in the scrap barrel with Nicky 6. Nicky 6 in the scrap barrel. That's where this coil's going. In the scrap barrel with Nicky 6. Jump, jump, jump. Nicky 6 in the scrap barrel.
junk, junk, junk.
If you've watched any of my other engine swap videos, there's 3 things you always got to keep in mind. Crankshaft diameter and length, the charging system, the electrical system, the alternator part on it, and the muffkin. So on this one, the muffkin, this is the original muffkin that was on this engine, the one that was full of fluffy stuff. This is hitting here on this brace, and the tailpipe here is hitting on there. So if you were doing one of these, you would have a couple options, and that would be to cut this pipe, turn it, re-weld it, and then maybe possibly put a big crease in the muffkin so it would fit over this rail here. Now I went out where I got a bunch of junk muffkins, and I found this one, which is for a flathead motor. The only problem is it's hitting on here and the bolts won't line up. So what I got to do is heat this up somewhere with the oxygen and amphetamine torch and kind of tweak this out a little bit, pull it out. So it'll clear that, and then the bolts will go in. Now I know what you're saying. Why don't you use the muffkin off the other engine, Taryl? Why don't you use that muffkin? That's an overhead valve engine. The exhaust comes out over here on that other engine. So that muffkin isn't going to work. There is the old engine right there. So if you look, it's on this side, not this side. So that's not going to work. And as far as the electrical system, I just briefly talked about that. You got to make sure it's the right electrical system. This electrical system will work, or the one that's on this engine will work on this tractor. The reason I say that is if you've got an electric PTO clutch, if you've got the type of tractor where you have to pull a button to make the blades go on, you have to have a higher amperage alternator on there in order to make these engine swaps work. If you look at my other videos, you'll see that. This has got what's called manual engagement. You just pull this lever to engage the mower deck. Same with that one, the one we took this engine off of. You just drop a lever. This has got probably a 7 or 10 amp alternator on it, which is just enough to keep the battery charged. So now I'm going to tweak that muffkin. Okay, I had to heat up the muffkin in 2 different spots, and it's on there nice and solid now. I used the 2 bolts that hold the starter on from the junk engine. I used them to hold the muffkin on. I got this shroud back on there. I got the engine bolted down. I've got the engine pulley on. The belts are hooked up. Now the gas tank has got some crap in there. I'll cut the zip tie, clean the tank out, put new fuel line on, new fuel filter, and then we still have to go through the carburetor. But another thing we have to do is address hooking the electrical up. And we'll go over that in a second. So this wiring is going to be pretty simple on this one, but I'm going to go over it with you anyway. So this is the wiring off of that other engine. Now, we can eliminate this gray wire and this black ground wire out of this harness, because this is for the anti-backfire valve, and this engine, this carburetor doesn't have one. And the carburetor on that other engine is already missing. We've already robbed it off of there. Plus we need to go through the carburetor again. So this is pretty simple. This is for our lights and our charging system. So this plug will plug right in. The red wire, that's our charge wire. This wire is actually red, but it's all faded. Okay. And this other wire, this orange wire, that would be for our headlights. But see, this is our charge wire. It's got that diode in there. And then this wire, this black wire here, this is our kill wire for the coil. So I'll take this little short kill wire off and we'll run this in. So all I have to do is just plug this in and then plug this into there and plug this back into there. And then all I'll do is I'll probably just cut this gray wire off. I'll just cut it off up there because we don't need it. Okay, a few things to address about the carburetor and hooking up the throttle. Now that other mower had a separate choke and the throttle just ran the motor up and down. This one has got the lever that chokes it and throttles it up and down all in one. So if you look at this plate over here, there's a little quarter inch headed screw here, which is a limiter that keeps it from, going all the way to choke. So we need to take that screw out. And there's a link missing here. There's a link that goes in this spot here that goes to the choke. So we can make it choke. And I'll show you all that because there's one on the old engine, that same link and the same throttle plate. But I want to take a peek in this carburetor and see what's going on in here, because remember earlier in the video, gas was just pouring out. And look, oh yeah, this thing was running. This thing was just running last year. We were using it. So I'll either put a new bowl on there or I'll sandblast that one in my blast cabinet. And then I got to look at the needle and see what's going on with the needle here. And look, that's why we were pouring gas out. Look at the tip of the needle. So it's not sealing. So hopefully if I just put a new needle in there, it'll stop it from leaking gas. Plus, this is water in here, and this isn't gas. You can tell it's water because it bubbles up on the concrete. So we need to address all that. It was just running last year. We were running it. We were using it. So I got to address all that. And then like I said, we got to hook up the throttle and the choke. So I need to take this off so you could see how I'm going to hook that up. I'll get this air box off. Just two nuts here and take that 5/16 out. Okay, so here's that link. This is for the choke. So if you've got one that's an all-in-one throttle and choke situation, you got to have this link. And that fits in this slot right here. And then it's going to go into this hole on here. So even if we wanted to hook up a manual choke, a separate choke, we wouldn't be able to because the end of this is broke off. Because that's where the end of the manual choke would have went. And then the choke cable would have went here. And the cable would have went, this would have stuck out a little bit more and had a hole in it for the cable, but it's broke. But we need this hole here. So this will go like this, and then this will go in that slot. And then again, like I said, we need to remove this. Need to take this out. Take that screw out. So like I said, I need to clean up the bowl, put the new needle in. I've already got the fuel tank out. I'll clean that out. I'll clean this up in here. And then we'll be able to fire it up, and see if it drives back and forth. Oh, one other thing I want to mention too. On this dipstick, these engines tend to leak a lot around this gasket here, this rubber. Now you can look this up and buy a new one, or all you need to do, as long as it's not too hard and brittle, because this thing actually screws into the crankcase here. So when you buy a new one, this rubber piece has got threads on it. Let me get a pair of pliers. I thought I had a pair of needle nose here. So I could show you this. So what I normally do is, see, this screws in. So if you wanted to make a better seal, and of course we're going to change the oil on this when we get done. I don't want to cross thread it. If you want to make a tighter seal on it, just screw it in some more. Turn it. Because the more you turn it, the more you tighten it, the tighter the seal will make around here. And you'll feel it when you go to push it in because it'll be hard to push in. Let me tighten it up a little more. So if you've got one of these, this type of dipstick on your mower and you notice it's leaking around there, just take the dipstick out, dipstick tube, turn that in a little bit more and make it tight. And another thing I like to do is if you've got the type that's got a single screw that goes in there, it's got a shoulder on it, I usually take that screw out and put a different sheet metal screw in there, and you'll be able to push down on it tight and tighten it. But this one's got the little fork that holds it. So yeah, I could tell it's fitting in there tight. All right, let's get this thing done. Okay, I got my new needle, and in case you wonder what the part number is for this needle, which is for this carburetor, this is a Walbro. This isn't a Nicky 6. The part number is 231855S as in Sam. And they also make a seat for it. I'm hoping to get away with just the needle. But sometimes if you put the needle in and it still leaks, you have to replace the seat. And the seat is pressed in to the carburetor. We have a video on changing that needle and seat. And the part number for the seat is 690577. Now I cleaned the float bowl in my blast cabinet so I wouldn't have to put a new one on. I ran all new fuel line. I added a shut-off valve, a fuel filter, and I also got a new gas cap. I put some dinosaur juice in there, and I put a new zip tie on, which I need to cut this off. Now I got all these parts, the fuel line, shut-off valve, the fuel filter, the clamps, the bowl gasket, the gas cap. I got all that from our friends at ProPartsDirect.net. If you need small engine parts, go to ProPartsDirect.net. They got online parts lookup. If you got a machine that they got the parts lookup for, you can go there and look up the parts and order the parts. And they'll give you a deal. Just tell them Taryl sent you. And there's your dinner. All right. So I'm going to put the needle in. Put the float bowl on. Put the new bowl gasket on. It's a little tricky when you're doing it like this. Okay, I installed the bowl gasket first, which makes it easy, and then with this pair of needle nose, I can hold the needle and guide it into place. There we go. And then put the float pin in, and hopefully this thing won't leak. Put the bowl on. Tighten that up. Then I also want to show you, see how I got this hooked up for the choke now? See what I was talking about? So now with that screw out of there, this has got more travel. Now when I pull it all the way back, see, it chokes it. All in one. And then if you wanted to add a manual choke, you would eliminate this. And like I said, you would just hook your choke wire to that. Let me hook this up now before I hook up the fuel line. All right. I'm going to put it all the way up on choke. Where's my nut driver at? Here it is. I'll pull it all the way back to the choke position. Tighten up the cable. And then we'll cycle it, make sure it's getting full choke, and it's not. So I need to pull this back a little bit more. That's why you got to check it. So what I like to do when it doesn't get full choke, back off on the throttle up here. Back off on this lever a little bit. Just back off on it a little bit. Pull it so you got full choke. Then tighten it down. And then cycle it again. See, now we're getting full choke. See, it's choking all the way. So remember that. Just back off a little bit on this. That'll give you a little bit more travel. Hook our fuel line up. Get our fuel clamp on there. Now I want to leave this off because I want to make sure it doesn't leak like it was before. Remember, and the gas was just pouring out of it? Because if it starts pouring out again, then I'm going to have to pull the carburetor off and put a seat in it. So far, so good. Fingers crossed. And we're going to start it up. We're going to drive it a little bit. Make sure it drives. And then before I go and put the blower shroud on and the air cleaner and all that, I want to pressure scrub this engine. I want to, I got most of that crap out of there, but I want to get it nice and clean before I give it back. Or before I put that on there. Make sure that's in there tight. Well, it ain't leaking. I had to put a battery in it. I put a good used one that we had in there. And I got it charging a little bit. And I did have to put a new terminal on the end because the other one was really corroded bad. So I cut it off and crimped a new one on there. It should be charged up enough. All right. Get the headlights out of the way. We don't want to damage them. Let's see what happens here. All the way in a choke. Fingers crossed. Fire it up, fire it up. Shut up! You were waiting for that, weren't you? All right, I need a screwdriver. It's running. Woo! You wanted a woo, didn't you? Woo! It's running, Taryl. Woo! Woo! I'll try to adjust that idle a little bit. She fired right up. Carburetor ain't leaking. She lives again! She lives again! That's like a mad scientist, kind of. She lives again. Blades kicked on. We did it. We did it. It started out bad and ended up good. Like I said, now I need to give it a good pressure scrubbing, put the air cleaner back on, put the blower shroud back on, get it hot so I can change the oil in it, because I like to get it hot first so that oil, I can get all that nastiness out of there. The hood, put the hood back on, call the guy and get my 500 clams. 500 smackaroonies. Ha 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 ha, there it is, the craftsman. We got to put one of these on there somewhere. He won't notice. We got to put this on there, which we sell in our online store. You need to get one. Got a craftsman? Even if you don't. Put it on your John Deere. That'll confuse people. Put it on your Scrub Cadet. Oh, we got Scrub Cadet stickers. We got John Doe stickers. We got all the stickers. Check it out. There's something that you need or want in our online store. Go check it out. There's something there for you. Spark plug necklace. Are you a mower medic? Hi, Jeremy Fountain. Jeremy Fountain. Mower medic shirts we got. Check it out. There's something there for you. Follow me with your engine swaps. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Polish this turd. Got this turd polished. This is a polished turd. Got all the stink out of it. She's running like a top. I love it. I love it when a plan comes together.
Taryl, you gotta help me. Choppy, he just stopped working.
Okay, all right, calm down, Bob. Did you try to put new batteries in it?
I just put new batteries in. Duracell Quantums, he should be working great.
Okay, well, there's only one problem. I don't work on toy chainsaws. I only work on real chainsaws.
What do you mean? Choppy is a real saw.
Okay, all right, take it easy. I'll take a look at it.
You'll take a look at him. Him.
Okay, I'll take a look at him. All right,
Be gentle. Be gentle.
All right, I'm gonna touch Choppy now.
Oh.
Okay, let me take Choppy over here and see what's going on.
I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay.
I'll be gentle with Choppy.
Oh.
All right, let's take. Oh, here we go. You got this one battery in backwards. See? It goes like this.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, that's all it was. Whew. You think maybe you can sharpen the chain too while I got him here? It's a little bit dull. Ain't been cutting as good.
I've been complaining to Bob that he's been spending too much time with Choppy. I told him it's putting a strain on our relationship. And do you know what he had the gall to tell me?
Hey, I've been thinking. You need to spend more time with the chop man. Y'all ain't close enough. I need you to bond. I want you to take him out and cut with him.
I'll try anything, Bob, if you think it'll help our relationship.
Yeah, that's good. You need to learn to respect Choppy. Now turn that TV up. I can't hear what that man's saying.
I'll try anything for Bob if it'll help our relationship.
Me and Choppy are getting hungry. Them sandwiches ain't gonna make themselves.
All right, I'll get you a sandwich in a minute.
All right, good. Choppy wants PB&J. Here, you can use them to cut the crust off.
Okay, all right.
All right, easy with them. Hey, hold him upright. Don't let that bar hit the dirt.
This is absurd. This thing isn't even cutting. It's a toy chainsaw. I've had enough. I'm done with Bob.
Hey, what are you doing? I told you not to let that bar hit the dirt. Hey, where you going? Where you going? Choppy, no!